Now the reason I'm stood in a field of soft, unmown, impact dampening grass is because I'm going to answer a question in this video, and that's a question that you've asked in response to one of my recent videos. In that video, I killed the DJI NEO's motors at 100 meters and let it fall to its death. And it didn't die, it actually auto-rotated and landed sort of safely. And what you've asked is this. If you kill the motors, can you restart them before it reaches the bottom and kind of save your drop? So that's exactly what I'm going to be testing in this video. And incidentally, if you're wondering, this DJI NEO is not the same one I used before. This is brand new. The last one's been retired. And really that means that I don't want to actually break this one. So if you think that I can throw drones around and I don't care, I'm just going to waste them. No, I do actually care about this one. I don't want to break it. Before I start, just a massive, massive thank you to all of you who've subscribed and supported my channel, which has just got to 5,000 subscribers. It's a minor milestone for many, but for me it means a lot. And I've now got my sights set on 10,000. So hopefully together we can make that happen. But thanks again for all your support. So getting straight into it, let's have a look at my first attempts of killing the motors and restarting them. This is what happened from about 30 meters. Because I kind of chickened out, taking it all the way to the top. Here. That seems fine. Okay, I think we'll leave it here. So as you can see, that didn't work very well. Now there are actually two main issues that we've got in making this happen. Now the first one is that the DJI NEO has a soft motor spool up. The motors don't just start up straight away. They do like a gentle spool, like a gentle sort of spin up. And that whole process from arming takes about in excess of 2 seconds. During those 2 seconds, the DJI NEO is going to be dropping, building up speed and probably hitting the ground. So that's issue number one. Now problem number two is the very fact that the DJI NEO auto-rotates. Now during auto-rotation, the propellers will spin in the opposite direction to the way they generate thrust. Now if you want to restart the motors, that means you have to stop that rotation and then correct it into the correct direction. Now that requires a certain amount of startup force, and the big question is, does the DJI NEO have enough force to make that happen? So I've done a few tests and this is how they went. Okay, so arming now. Okay, we'll try that one more time. Oi, there it goes, arming, and okay, next test. What speed are we doing? 13. Bit faster. Okay, that's fine. First test, pointed into some wind, 10 kilometers an hour, and no problems. It does actually stop that auto-rotation and restart the motors in the right way. The second test, I stuck this out the side of a moving car at different speeds to generate some airflow, and what we found is that anything more than 20 kilometers an hour, it just doesn't have the power to stop that rotation, which is a real bummer, because what we found in my previous video is that if you look at the video, once I kill the motors, it'll accelerate to 45 kilometers an hour drop in about 1 second. And that's where the first problem comes in, because the DJI NEO takes a long time to spool up. It's about 2 seconds or more. So it's going to start dropping, it'll build up speed, it'll auto-rotate at 45 kilometers an hour, which is too fast for it to start the motors. That's the problem. But we're going to test it anyway, because I'm stupid like that and I do silly things. So I'm going to take it to 100 meters, kill the motors over this soft grassy field and try and restart them. And it'll probably show the theory to be correct, that it's not going to start the motors, but we've got to test these things because otherwise it's just theory. So let's get going. Okay, 100 meters, kill the motors, and as quick as possible I'm going to restart them. And if I'm right in my theory, it's basically just going to keep plummeting and get to the bottom and probably then start once it's impacted, which is really silly because that's just not good, but there you go. Right, here we go. And go, here we go. And oh, no, that didn't work. There you go. I'm just going to go and find it. Okay, just walking through a field trying to find the drone, which, as you can see, proved my theory. You can't restart the motors once it's in free fall because of the auto rotation and the amount of power it takes to restart the motors. Definitely tried to rearm them. I had my throttle at 0, which is obviously required for that. Didn't work. But I'm not going to stop there. If it survived this fall, I'm going to try some different things. There we go. Now, fortunately I didn't hit this. There we go. Let's have a look. Look at that. There is no damage on this, which is very, very good. It's a spectacular drone, really is. Okay, so I got it back, which is great. It's undamaged, which is even better, and it also avoided a massive cow dung by about 6 inches. So that's really, really good. So back to the drawing board. I've got to find a way to stop it auto-rotating too fast in time for the motors to spool up and generate thrust in the right way again. So I've had an idea, and the way I'm going to try and do that is this. And this is really wacky, really risky, but what I thought is I'm going to try and do a power loop. And during that power loop, it's going to fly around. Now at that point, sort of generating thrust this direction. So if I kill the motors, the airflow is actually in the correct direction. It's pushing the props in that direction, and even if it falls for a second or so or tumbles inverted, the airflow during an inverted tumble is spinning the props in the right direction. So if I try and rearm the motors during that short time period, while it's inverted or while it's falling this way, maybe I can restart them in time. So basically, power loop, bring it to roughly the top, around about there, kill the motors, let it fall inverted, restart the motors and see if it works. How stupid is that? But we'll give it a go anyway, because you love seeing me crash drones, and there you go. People get what they want. If you're wondering what a power loop is basically a loop-the-loop, if you like, but under constant power, or most of the way constant power. So rather than going up and then killing power and then flipping around, you're applying constant power all the way around to generate quite a uniform sort of loop. But yeah, that's basically why it's called a power loop, because it's a loop under power. Right, so I'm going to practice these. I really don't want to break it, so it'd be nice if it didn't. But here we go. Here we go. From about there. Here we go. Oh, this is so nerve-wracking. Yay! I did it! Ladies and gentlemen, that is one DJI NEO which has had its motors turned off mid-flight and restarted and landed in one piece. How cool is that? It feels so unnatural to do a power loop and then kill the motors at the top of it, but it did it. How cool. Okay, so there we have it. I've just had a look at the footage, and you can actually see it tumble and do about 3 or 4 flips before it catches itself again and basically the motors start up. But I'm absolutely thrilled that this is actually possible. Now, the downside is it's completely impractical, because unless you do a power loop and do something stupid like I just did and kill the motors at the top of a power loop, it just won't happen. If you're falling in free fall and it starts auto-rotating, these motors or the props generate too much energy in them, and you just can't stop that. The drone doesn't have enough startup power to stop that auto-rotation power and generate thrust again. So the answer to your question is twofold. Can you do it? Yes, you can. Is it practical? No, it's not, because why would you turn off the motors in the middle of a power loop? Anyway, that is the end of this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. I massively enjoyed filming it and walking away with a drone which is still in one piece, completely unscathed, despite actually having one free fall impact onto grass, and there's not even a scratch on it. So that's actually another great testimony to this drone's crash resistance. And we've answered a question. What's the next one going to be? Questions in the comment. If you have any other ideas of something you want me to try that's not too expensive, hopefully, then leave your suggestions in the comments. Other than that, thanks for watching, happy flying, and I'll see you very, very soon with more bonkers content. Thank you, bye-bye.